Hello friends, this is Uncle E back with the 7 cures for a lean purse. It's been a little while, but we're finally down to the 7th cure. We're coming out of the Richest Man in Babylon, a book that I highly recommend that you read, that you gather, that you put into your collection. It's a classic. It has stood the test of time. This is the one book that I attribute to helping me going from being in debt to being out of debt. So I highly recommend it to you, to your youth, to your children, to everyone. This book has been around since 1926. It has stood the test of time, and the principles, they continue to work. So if you find yourself with a lean purse, you find yourself with pennies in your pocket, you find yourself with a wallet on E, man, this is a book that can change your thinking and that can change your results when it comes to your finances. So I highly recommend it. Now, what we got here is we got 7 cures. We have the richest man in Babylon, whose name is Arcad, who was summoned by the king of Babylon to come speak to 100 choice men in the temple. The king was actually concerned about the wealth disparity or the wealth gap, where a few of the men in the city owned or controlled most of the assets, similar to what we see in the United States. And so he wanted to bring in one of those wealthy men to come and talk to, you know, the herd, or to the nation, or these 100 choice men, to kind of give them some nuggets as to what they could do to accumulate their wealth, so that the wealth gap would lessen, would diminish. And so Arcad came, spoke to the 100 choice men. He went through 7 days and gave them 7 different lessons. So on the first day, as a quick recap, the first cure was to start your purse to fattening. The lesson there was to live off 90% of your income and to save 10%. And then over time, you would have money that you could use for other purposes. The second step was to control your expenditures, or control your expenses. This point was basically to say to live off a budget. The third cure was to make your goal multiply. In this point, we learned that we should, now that we have accumulated this 10% over time, we should start sending it out, becoming investors, becoming lenders and not borrowers, so that our money could go and work for us. Fourth cure was to guard your treasures from loss. This simply meant that we should seek wise counsel before we lend our money out. We should make sure that we're making wise investments, not just making investments, so that we can ensure that we have a higher rate of return, or a higher probability that our money will bring back a return for us. Number 5, fifth cure, was to make thy dwelling a profitable investment. Process here basically was to own your own home, own your own property, own assets, own your own building, or own your own business. This was to become an owner of land, property, and assets. That was the principle here in the 5th cure. The 6th cure was to ensure a future income. This basically taught us about making sure we have health insurance, making sure that we have a will and trust, making sure we have things set up that it could fuel us on through or up until we die, so that even when we can no longer work, we have things working for us to take care of our expenses, and we have something that we can leave to our next generation. So now we're here to the 7th cure. 7th cure for a lean purse, and this is going to be a 2-part ordeal because it's pretty long. So we'll do this in 2 parts. So the 7th cure: increase your ability to earn. This day do I speak to thee, my students, one of the most vital remedies for a lean purse. Yet I will talk not of gold, but of yourselves, of the men beneath the robes of many colors who do sit before me. I will talk to you of those things within the minds and lives of men which do work for or against their success. So did Arcad address his class upon the 7th day. Not long ago came to me a young man seeking to borrow. When I questioned him the cause of his necessity, he complained that his earnings were insufficient to pay his expenses. Thereupon I explained to him, this being the case, he was a poor customer for the moneylender, as he possessed no surplus earning capacity to repay the loan. What you need, young man, I told him, is to earn more coins. What can you do to increase your capacity to earn? All that I can do, he replied. 6 times within 2 moons have I approached my master to request my pay be increased, but without success. No man can go more often than that. We may smile at his simplicity, yet he did possess one of the vital requirements to increase his earnings. Within him was the strong desire to earn more, a proper and commendable desire. Preceding accomplishment must be desire. Preceding accomplishment must be desire. Your desire must be strong and definite. General desires are but weak longings. For a man to wish to be rich is for a man to wish to be rich is of little purpose. For a man to desire 5 pieces of gold is a tangible desire, which he can press to fulfillment. After he has backed his desire for 5 pieces of gold with strength of purpose to secure it, next he can find similar ways to obtain 10 pieces and then 20 pieces and later 1,000 pieces, and behold, he has become wealthy. In learning to secure his one definite small desire, he has trained himself to secure a larger one. This is the process by which wealth is accumulated, first in small sums, then in larger ones as a man learns and becomes more capable. Desires must be simple and definite. They defeat their own purpose should they be too many, too confusing, or beyond a man's training to accomplish. As a man perfects himself in his calling, even so does his ability to earn increase. In those days, when I was a humble scribe carving upon the clay for a few coppers each day, I observed that other workers did more than I and were paid more. Therefore did I determine that I would be exceeded by none. Nor did it take long for me to discover the reason for their greater success. More interest in my work, more concentration upon my task, more persistence in my effort, and behold, few men could carve more tablets in a day than I. With reasonable promptness, my skill was rewarded, nor was it necessary for me to go 6 times to my master to request recognition. And we'll stop there and we'll come back to the other part. But I want to come back to this. He said that therefore that he determined that he would be exceeded by none. He wanted to perfect his craft. He said that these are the 3 things that helped him to actually get more money without asking. He had more interest in his work, more concentration upon his task, and more persistence in his effort. And that brought attention, that brought recognition, that brought things that his manager or his boss could see that would say, hey, we want to pay you more money because you are more engaged, you are perfecting your craft. And so in cure number 7, to increase your ability to earn. And the way that you do that is you need to have more interest in your work, more concentration upon your task, and more persistence in your effort. And we'll come back in a couple of days and we'll finish up the 7th cure for a lean purse. Again, it is The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. I cannot stress this enough. If you find yourself in a position where you're broke, busted, and disgusted, you find yourself in a position where your bank account is on E, you find yourself in a position where you have a lean wallet, get this book, read it, ingest it, let its words filter into your mind. Cut off the television, read a book. It's going to help your mind get to thinking about what you need to do to improve your financial situation. Well, this is Uncle E. I'm signing out saying thank you for tuning in today to The Richest Man in Babylon. We'll come back again with part 2 of the 7th cure. But until then, guys, increase your ability to earn.